Okay. Hi, my name is Adam Decker, and this is my partner,
I'm Kurtis Kubal.
and we are giving our final presentation for CIT 260 Java programming.
Our game is called A Medieval Harvest Festival. Let's run the program and take a look at all of its functionality. So this is our program. This is the start program view, and we use a text field to be able to write player's name, and this will exit the program, and this will start it with the name of the player.
Okay, in this next menu, we have 5 buttons here. The exit takes you out of the program. Start the game will bring you into the main menu that you play everything with. The Start Existing Game button, as you just saw, does not have any functionality. We did not learn how to implement this in the class, as does the Save Your Game button, which would normally be functional, but we didn't learn how to in class. The How to Play button is functional, however, and gives us a good menu here and describes many of the maybe more difficult things to figure out in the game.
So this is the main game menu. We have plenty of options here. This is the text field, the text area that basically introduces the game. This button is to go to the move location menu. This one's to examine the current location. This one's to look at the map. This button's used to look at the inventory and to get to the options there. This is to play the memory game. This is to look at nursery rhymes. This is to look at the player's hunger. This is to look at the player's thirst. This button is to estimate how much a food item would fill the player. This is to estimate dimensions of rooms. And this is to start conversations. This is another non-functional save button that we have not learned how to implement yet.
So this screen here, the previous screen is what you're going to see most of the game and be using. You just clicked on the change location here. So each of these are a different location in our game, and as soon as you click on it, you will move to that location, and your hunger also increases by 5 points here. So the idea is if you don't eat any food, you'll become so hungry that you can no longer change locations on the map.
But there's a way to get food even if you're stuck. This is the matching game, and so we can see these matching locations, and if we find a match, so there's one. If we find a match, it will give us a message. It'll tell us that we matched them, and we can go back. And if we look at the inventory, it shows us that we gained an apple, and that way we can always have some way to be able to lower the hunger of the player.
So here we can select these options in the inventory. We can use our food items here. We're going to select the top one there, which is the apple, and use it to decrease our hunger. Great, now we're at 0. Let's go back to the main menu. I'd like to take a moment for the nursery rhyme here. I spent some time making this, and I implemented these radio buttons, which you can click on one and it generates the rhyme, and as soon as you click on a different radio button, the previous button is unselected and it moves on to the next one there.
We also, in the inventory menu, we implemented something that lets us to examine the items. So if we go to the first one, which is the bread, we examine it, it will send us the description in a dialog box. We can also use this button to look at the greatest quantity of the item. It will go through an array and tell us which item has the greatest quantity. But since the items in here have equal amount, it won't tell us one single item. Um,
So, a big part of this game is having conversations with other actors. So if you push this button here, depending on which room you're in, we're currently in the audience chamber. The king and his servant Charles is there. So this menu on the right will change and be adaptive to every room you're in the game. You just make your selection here in the box and hit start conversation. And it generates the text saved on the actor class, and pretty easy.
there is also error handling here, so if you enter an invalid character or leave it blank, it will send an error, catch an exception, and it will show the user that what they did was not correct. We also have exception handling in the memory game. So if we leave it blank, it'll pop up an error, or if we random characters, it will also give us errors. There are also error handling in the calculate filling factor. So let's see. Again, error handling will tell the user error message. The game progresses as we go to different locations and talk to different people. So as we go through the game, we're looking for evidence to find the princess who is missing. And eventually, we can find her and talk to her, which will allow us to get evidence, which will allow us to, once we talk to the right people, it will end the game. Let's go back to our presentation now.
Over the course of this semester, we have gained a better understanding of the development process, the different layers of a program, the model, control, and view layers, the basic structure of the Java programming language, and exception handling.
As mentioned in an earlier presentation, we used the development process that was outlined for us. The development process is made up of 5 parts. The development process is like a cycle. As we go through the development process, we can go back in some cases. We can go back, and in some cases, we must go back to previous steps in order to improve our programs.
When creating our programs, we use high-level design. We specifically based our programs after the MVC pattern, which stands for Model, View, and Control. By using this high-level design, we are able to organize our programs and separate the data objects, the processing, and the output functionality of our programs. These layers were very important when creating our programs because they allowed us to focus on different aspects of our program at different times when we were ready to approach new challenges. Having these different design layers also lets us break up our code and more easily isolate any problems that can occur in our programs.
This semester we are able to do a lot of code in Java. By doing so much coding, we are able to become very familiar with the syntax of the Java programming language. We are also able to learn how to import Java libraries and to be able to have access to useful tools that others have already created and made available to us. As part of learning the Java programming language, we also learned how to create Java beans, allowing us to use encapsulation, serialization, and modularity. While using Java programming, we also learn to utilize packages to organize classes in the complete project program.
Recently, we had the opportunity to learn exception handling in our program. Exceptions are events that occur during the execution of the program that disrupt the normal flow of the program. We can handle these exceptions by looking for them using try statements, using catch statements to propagate exceptions and tell the user what went wrong and continue running the program instead of it completely stopping. We made use of exceptions, custom exceptions, and all unknown exceptions that we did not expect.
We also learned how to use Java Swing. Java Swing is a GUI or graphical user interface toolkit. Java Swing allows us to create a GUI for our programs instead of being restricted solely to a text-based user interface for our programs. In Java Swing, we have tools available to us, such as JPanels, which hold other Java Swing tools, JText fields, JLabels, and many other useful tools.
There is definitely a lot that we still don't know or don't understand in Java programming. We still don't know how to save all the data that our game consists of and make that data available to be reused later. We struggled somewhat with the implementation of Java Swing, such as using JTables and filling JCombo boxes. We also events in our game. While playing our game, we did not take into account how certain events that make the game progress would take place in the game. These events can be somewhat complicated, so better planning would be able to solve this problem. The last thing that we struggled with is multi-dimensional arrays. Although we have used several multi-dimensional arrays in our program, they can still be very confusing when trying to write or read to the array.
That's all for now.
See you later.